Hi everyone, I'm Crow77. Today we're going to take a look at a Paifu. That is a review of someone's game to, look at mistakes and that sort of thing. Now, most of these games come from my viewers, so if you're interested in getting in on the action, take a look in the description. We have a Discord server where you can just submit games that you want to. Then there's also a Patreon if you don't want to wait in the queue and want to get right to the top of the list. So, without any further ado, remember to like and subscribe, and let's take a look at the game. Okay, let's jump right into it. So this is not a normal ladder game like a lot of you guys are used to seeing. This is actually a tournament match. So in tournaments, there's two major things. One is you typically have some kind of condition, like you're playing for first in the tournament or whatever. In this case, only the winner gets any prizes. So that's kind of step one here. Step two, you guys see the white numbers around each other player's seat and everything. So that is their relative score based on where we are at. So in order to take first overall, we can let the player on our left gain by 20,000 points, but we have to overtake the player on our right by 40,000 points. So that'll become very relevant, especially later on. The short version there is we have a little bit of a deficit to make up. So if the player on right is in second and we're in first, we need to be about 17,000 points ahead of them, 18,000 points ahead of them. So that's something to keep in mind. We might need to start high rolling. It kind of depends on how the placements go, and that's what we're going to be mostly focusing on in this. So just kind of see what sort of aggression we can do, what we can push to try to make up this deficit and win. Looks like we are starting east. And if there's any differences that matter from the ladder, or sorry, starting north. So if there's any differences that matter between ladder and this game, I'll bring them up as they become relevant. Pretty normal so far. Yeah. I don't like the one mon, but unfortunately it looks like we're stuck with it at this point. Ooh, that's interesting. So, kind of along the line of high rolling here, I don't mind keeping the extra pair around right now. So I would almost consider the 2-mon here. Because if we Riichi 7 pairs, sumo and flip 2 ura, that's a Hanemon. And I know that sounds like kind of like a long shot. But I don't think the 2 is enough better than the 1 to warrant not discarding the 2 here. So even if we want to go for a Tanyao and everything, there's still lots of options that we have. If we do discard the 2, we can lock in that pair and draw maybe a 7-pin. If we get that 7-pin, then Ipeko is an option. And we can discard the 6 of bamboo in order to try to hit the Pinfu still. So possibly even 6-pin, 8-pin, 6 bamboo. So I think the pair of ones here is better. Even though it looks like we have 4 pairs, there's a lot of draws that make it so we kind of don't anymore. So something to keep an eye out for. Ooh, and there would be the 5th pair, unfortunately. But yeah, in this situation, I think discarding the 8 is fine. Consecutive pairs is a thing. Oh, I missed the reach on the left, I'm sorry. One problem with going through replays like this is I don't get the audible Riichi sound all the time. So yeah, in that context, I think 8-pin, 8-pin is fine here. Yeah, we don't want to push too hard or anything, and yeah, that's a start. Hey look, 7 pairs, with 2 ura, just like I was talking about. So, not too much we could have changed there, nothing that would have affected the outcome anyway. But that is a really good start for us though, because this is the score difference that we need, right? We want this player on our right to start tanking, player on our left, we can have them get a little bit ahead of us, and it's not a problem yet, but it is something we'll need to keep an eye out for. This hand starting with 2 Dora, obviously the sort of thing you would love to push a Tanya with. But yeah, we'll see how it turns out. Okay, that's a great draw. So here we're looking more like Pinfu than anything else. So we're probably looking to discard the 7-mon. Oh, but that's a weird draw. So many pairs right now. Like 7 mon is the hedge play right now. I think the best play is still just discard the 7 so. Reason being consecutive pairs are generally still just bad, and you want to hold on to the 5s in case you draw the red 5. But does go with the 7 mon. This is a 6 block theory application. Like I just don't like it. It just makes your hand worse later, on average, than discarding the 7 so would. So in this sort of situation, cut from your weakest block, and since, if we apply 5 block theory, it's 1, 2, 3, 7, 7, 8, 1, 3, 8, 8, and then this all kind of becomes 1 block. So you don't need 4 tiles in 1 block, so you cut the 7 so there. And naturally, I would have immediately gotten punished. Well, that changes things. So here we're discarding the 1, 3 pin. Yeah. Jeez. Well, at least I got punished once, you got punished once, It all works out. Yeah, that's fine. I could see a world where we hold on to that 3 and discard the 5 so instead. But I think we still want to be able to incorporate the 3rd door if we draw it. So the 5 so, holding on to the 5 so is the best way to do that. Yep, another slight improvement here. No reach on the board yet, no calls, nothing. It's weird. Okay, and here's where we can start calling for Tanya. If we get the right opportunity, that is. So I'm pawning 8 mon if we get it. I'm pawning just about anything, honestly. I would chi a 6 mon if it comes up. That's harder, but I think we probably shifted here. The difficulty is the player on our right? So they discarded a 4 from 224 after the pawn. So 6 is probably safe, the 5 is probably safe. So yeah, I think I'm fine with discarding the 5 here. Yeah. And that does give us the safe 7 mon as well. That's a late change. Okay, so this is good. So we see the 8 mon, pawn it, discard the 7. And that's a safe 10 pi right there. Yeah, the 8 doesn't do anything really, so that's fine. Oh, a con though. So the con is interesting. It makes it less likely that the 4-so will come out, but it'll be way better for us if it does. Oh, and it does. That's perfect, actually. Okay. Okay, we take those. Go back, just double check something. So yeah, biggest thing is, I think holding on to the 7 was a mistake in the first place. So a little bit of efficiency things, but I'd like the decision to open up and go for the hand, and then we got rewarded by winning off the door there. All right. Next up, we start with 3 pairs once again. This is just a trend right now, apparently. But we're still just going to be discarding honors early to start out. You guys might notice that the aborts are off. By having 4 of the Norths come out, it's not ending the game. So that's an interesting 9-pin discard. Oh, I don't know why I'm always missing reaches with this stuff. You know what, I hate that it slows it down, but let's go ahead and do this. Okay. So we'll just watch it at the speed and kind of go through. I won't pause too much unless we have to. But this gives us a nice safe red dragon here, which we can probably use anytime. So can't really tell. I think both players on left and right are folding right now. So that's an important thing to note. But we're actually progressing pretty nicely towards Tenpai here. We can discard the 2-so at any point to make it Tenpai. But the 4-mon starting to die is not good. Okay. There we go. That's a good 2-so. So here, we have a lot of live tiles, but the problem is if we hit Tenpai, we have to discard 6-pin. But that just got alleviated by the player on our left discarding it. So overall, I'm pushing this hand if we make it to Tenpai here.
Riichi.
Ugh, jeez. Well, I guess that's just an easy 6-pin then. Yeah. Okay. 9-mon is fine. God, what are we even hoping for here? Like, I don't know if we want to... Like, the 6-so doesn't look bad right now. So it is pushable. Because of the Nakasuji with the 3-9-so dying. Shutting down here. I don't think I like shutting down here. The 9-pin is almost... No, 9-pin is 100% safe here. Because we can see all 4 of the 8-pin. Unless I kind of wrong. Yeah, all 4 of the 8-pin and 3 of the 9-pin. So 9-pin is 100% safe. There's no reason to cut this 7 just yet. We might as well push one more turn. Okay. Wouldn't have mattered in this case, but definitely have to watch out for those. Like if you're cutting out from within your hand here. Oof, jeez. This is a hard-hitting game. Alright, now is where we have to start worrying a lot. So, let's see, what was the number? So we're up 25.7 to the player on our left. Which means we need to be within 6,000 points of them at game end if they're winning and we're second. So we have some distance to make up here. But naturally, as Mahjong is Mahjong, we have to start with 4 pairs again. So gotta play with a little bit of a handicap. But maybe it'll just turn into 7 pairs. I'm fine with the 9-mon on the first discard here. And that's fine too, yeah. If it wasn't the door, you just discard the 1-mon again there. But we make it into a nice round gun shape. Here we almost want to go Tanyao, but there isn't that much value there. So we do find the 7 pairs route instead. Interesting. Hold on. I don't know that I like that. I'm not sure if this player missed the 7 pairs option or what. But even if we're going for like Suanko, we don't discard the 1-so here. So I think if we're gonna hedge, we should hedge on the 7-pin. But it's probably just best to discard the 4-pin and set up that Tsuji trap for later. But yeah, the problem is this brings us farther away from Tenpai. A lot of our shapes aren't great. It just leaves us in a really awkward position. So we can technically hit Tenpai with 1 draw here. But it's not a great Tenpai. It'll be Dora 2 though. So we probably take a reach if we get the opportunity to. Oh, and we get punished for the 7 pairs. The 7 pairs pivot. We could get rewarded with a 3-6-so draw, but no time. Unfortunate. But yeah, so that was a weird pivot away from the 7 pairs. If you have 5 pairs, as much as I hate the hand, usually it's still fine to go with 7 pairs. So let's go back and take a quick look at that here. I think it was turn 7, yeah. So it's an early decision too. Like as much as I hate this hand. Yeah, I think just 4-pin is the way to go. 4-pin, lock in the intent to get the Dora pair and go from there. 5 pairs is just too advanced, I think, to do anything else. Alright, but we do get our first dealer turn now, so let's review. We are overtaking the player on our right based on the overall score because we're 2 placements ahead of them. We are also overtaking the player across from us, so it's only the player on our left we're behind right now in the overall score. So yeah, with that in mind, let's see if we can hit him. Because if we do nothing but like hit the player on our left now, we just win. But obviously it's a south game, we're not in all last just yet or anything. I believe this is a Gariyame Nashi. Yeah. So in all last, if we're ahead, we still need to keep playing. So that's an important thing to remember that is different from ladder games are.
Oh.
Sorry, I might have missed something here. Okay, yeah. So it's weird. But I like holding on to these 9s here. So one of the things you have to watch out for as you play more and more, get better and better, higher and higher ranks, is that Sanshoku is actually a really good Yaku. So in this case, the 7, 8, 9 Sanshoku is not outside the realm of possibility at all. So I don't think we're at the point where we commit by discarding a 6-pin or anything, but we probably discard one of the dragons over it here. But yeah, I think that's enough of a hedge. That way if we draw a 7-pin or something, it's fine. From this position, we probably just discard the 8-mon, because the 8-mon is kind of redundant in this shape. Yeah. And that would have been having all the shapes needed, just 2 tiles away from confirming the Sanshoku. Ooh, and that would have been one of them. So here we would need just the 8 cell. So yeah, definitely watch out for the Sanshokus, even if they do seem kind of... Oh, it hurts so bad to see. So taking a different line here, we would be Ishanten with 2 3-pin, 2 4-mon left. But yeah, you have to give those Sanshokus the chance sometimes. So, it is what it is. But now we're in a weird position where we're kind of free 10 on a lot of draws. We could still shift down to a 6, 7, 8 Sanshoku. That'd be ideal even. But yeah, I think at this point I like this better. Shifting this up in order to try something else. Oh jeez. Just punish so much right now. Like here I'm almost just going to start shutting down. I'm almost worried about starting to deal into the player on our right here. If we get a good Tenpai, if we draw like 2-mon, 4-mon, that's a fine draw. And that's Sotogawa to the 4-mon, so yeah, that's fine. And just past 2. So this is a really wide Ishanten, but it's just so low value, unfortunately. The 6-0 is fine here, so no issue there. I just don't know what point we shut down here, though. Things just start to seem very dangerous. Like, player on our right's definitely Tenpai. We see this Riichi across the board. Player on our left is probably Tenpai. I'll try to remember to go back to turn 15 and see if that read is right, but I think everyone is Tenpai except for us. So here I think we are correctly shutting down here. It's going to be kind of a bigger payout if it hits Ryukoku, but it is what it is. Oh, maybe player on our left wasn't Tenpai. Yep, just the full shutdown at this point. Sumo happens anyway. Yeah. You see the animations have gone crazy since I stopped playing on this client. Oh dear God, what is this? Okay. So that's the thing. There's not much else we can do right there. But like I said, we could have done a lot of different lines earlier on. So I think that playing a little more aggressively as far as trying to make those Yaku go might have been the way to go. But obviously the draw order would change a lot with the red dragon and everything. There's a lot going on there. So it's hard to say exactly how it would have turned out. So I do have to check here just to see if I was right or not. Yep, so we have Tenpai waiting on 3-pin and Tenpai waiting on 4-pin. So, yeah. Yep, only one not Tenpai at the table. So it's something to watch out for. There's lots of like telltale things you can look at to really kind of see what's going on here. But the way that you can read the Tenpai here is that the red 5 mon this late, like you don't discard that unless you're Tenpai, right? You want to kind of force it or hold it or do something other than just drop it. Then player on our left, this was too weird of a call to not be Tenpai, right? Like you don't, what turn was that again? It was, yeah, it was after 11 sometime. Just find this call again, yeah. So right here, if, again, this late in the game, someone is going to chi a Ryeonmin, so 4-5, and then discard a central tile. Like, their hand's in good condition, right? So here I'd be worried about basically the hand that this person had, you know, having tons of Dora, red 5s, everything. So that's, sounds about right there. But yeah, that's just kind of some tips there to keep an eye out for that Tenpai, to try to play around it a little bit. Knowing this here, thinking that this was more dangerous than it actually ended up being, as well as this read on the right of the player being Tenpai with the red 5 discard. I think it makes sense to shut down this hand a little bit sooner since we lost all of our chance for value. It's not ideal. Obviously we need to push at some point, but we are still last dealer, so we always have that final option too. But let's move on to South 1. Whoops, did not see those hands. Alright. So hopefully this is making sense. I feel like I'm talking kind of fast through it, but hopefully it's kind of getting the point across. If you have any questions about anything I'm talking about here, feel free to leave comments down below, and I'm more than happy to talk through them here. Okay, so pretty normal so far. We're holding a little heavy on the honors here, but I think it's fine. Like, I want there to be something here. But I'm not seeing any routes for anything. Yeah, and that 7 draw's a lot worse, having discarded the 8 already, unfortunately. So let's look at that 8 discard again real quick. That's what I missed. So here, we don't really have a confirmed pair technically yet, but this 8-mon is, like, it's Dora, it's next to Dora and everything. But we can already see a few of the 9s and 6s dying. Even if we draw the Dora, it gets a lot less likely to complete. And it would also have overlap with the 4-5 here. So I think dropping this 8 a lot earlier would make sense. That way if we draw something like the 2-so, then we're not in bad shape because we still have this shape that can turn into a pair a little bit easier. And we're not completely blown out of the water if we draw a Dora either, since it does connect to the 5. Okay, not great draws here. Yeah, sometimes games are like this. Okay, I figured they were close to Tenpai. They're probably on a Ryeonmin shape right now. Oof. Jeez. Okay, let's look at this. So player on the right, probably both these players are on good weights right now, as indicated by the honor Tadashi discard in order to hit Tenpai. The other option, player on our left, could be Chitoi. just because their discard order feels really weird, like discarding a Tadashi 6-mon before the red dragon. Like there's just some weird stuff going on there. So I'd be worried about Chitoi here, but I think that over on the right here, Tsuji is going to be pretty safe. So I think safer tiles would be things like the Tuso. What else do we do here? The 8-mon, oddly enough, I think might be our best discard here. Unless I'm sure I'm missing something. Oh no, 1-so. Duh. So 1-so and 8-mon seems really safe here though. Goes for the white dragon. I actually like the 1-so way better than the white dragon. White dragon is still 2 live. Okay, it does find the 1-so. 9-pin is fine. Yeah. Yep, so here we're just defending, and it makes sense. Our hand was not advanced enough to push, so just shut it down. Player across miss is shutting down too, which will make Riichi a little bit nicer. Okay. So yeah, as expected, not Chitoi, but both of them on good weights here. Yeah, player on our left looking super dangerous once again too. We're actually kind of okay with this. This gives us another chance to have a decent hand to start a comeback here. We didn't have to pay too much for it. That's an interesting pawn. So is that a Manzu Honitsu then? Like here we probably don't even pawn the red dragon because we need more value than that. And we just don't have value in our hand if we pawn it. So many pairs this game, I swear. So I actually like the other order better here. Discard the 4-so first. Because we are going on these 7 pairs. No. Okay. So I like the hard commit to 7 pairs here. Discard the 6-so, set up the Tsuji trap. Oh, geez, and it would have been perfect. 6-so into 4-so, no one expects you to be waiting on 9-so there. So, one missed opportunity. One important skill to have is identifying when your hand is just going to be Chitoi and kind of playing towards it. Like here we could do the ridiculous trap of discarding this 4 or so and reach on a Jigoku Tanki. I don't hate it, honestly. Like that's one way that you hit these players that you need to hit. I would consider that. Especially with how quickly a lot of these players have been shutting down when Riichi's hit the board. But at the same time, I don't think they're going to suspect the Jigoku Tanki. So yeah, I think I'd Riichi here waiting on the west. Take the little more rational play here, discard the west instead. But reach on the Dora. 5 does look pretty good in the wall. I think there's a decent chance we sumo here. So I think that play is fine, having passed, you know, all these other ones. Yeah. So here it's nothing to do but wait, see what happens. Like, pretty reasonable chance we just make it to Ryukyu, but I think it's pretty likely there are still some 5-mon live. Let's see, just for fun. Yeah, so 2 5-mon across the board. There's the 4th one, unfortunately. So this was unlucky, them having a pair there. So it looks like we're not winning this hand, but that's alright. Oh, come on. Okay, now we're getting pretty deep into the hole here. I'm curious, I didn't actually pay attention. Did that west end up coming out? There's one there. Oh, we ended up drawing it. Jeez. Yeah, no, I think the tricky plays are kind of good when... How do I want to say this? When you're in a desperate enough situation that you need to start hitting people, you don't just want to make it to Rikokyo. That's where I kind of like starting the Jigoku Tanki honor stuff. Now, I would have preferred the 9-so Riichi with the Suji trap that I talked about earlier. But I think in that position, we still just take the West Riichi, the West Tanki. Okay, reasonable starting hand here for once. One Dora already integrated. Going towards Paifu, possibly Itsu if we draw perfectly here. But I'm also fine with just getting a pair. Now this is not as good for the weight at the end. We don't really just want a 2600 point hand. So really we're looking for some upgrades here. I probably wouldn't
Riichi.
just reach on a Tenpai though.
Riichi.
Oh jeez. Reach is coming out though. I'm looking at this 9-so discard and seeing if I hate it or not. No, it's fine. So the reason I'm okay with it is because it does angle towards Tanyao. This gives us the option, you know, before this Riichi happens and everything, of discarding 1 into 4. We're not, you know, dealing tons of live Suji at that point. But that does still potentially lead us to Paifu, Tanyao, Dora, Riichi. So I think the 9-so is fine there. But we can't just shut down every single hand. But when there's 2 Riichis on the board, sometimes you just don't have a chance. Yep, good defense here so far. Now we discard the 1-so. Ooh. Hold on. That was a play I didn't expect. One moment. Okay, so right here. If we Riichi, we're on Riichi Dora 1 with 4 tiles left against 2 other Riichis. That seems really hard. Now obviously I know it dealt in at this point, but even without that, I think we're just taking the 1-so here. We know it's completely safe. It angles up for a lot of different options. So we could even get like, you know, 5-so or 3-so and then discard the 3-mon. I'd be okay with that. But with the 3 being so close to these 2 Riichi tiles, it's just so unsafe here. Like, I don't want to go for 2600 point hand just off that, so I don't like that play at all. Play a little more guarded and try to build up a little more value than just 2600 points. And now especially we need to. See, I think the main play pattern issue I'm seeing is that hand building aspect. So, you know, how do we take this hand and instead of just playing efficiently going for that Riichi, how do we get more value out of it? How do we look for these Sanshokus, these Tanyao chances, these better options here? So that'll be one thing you want to focus on for improvement. Okay, that 5-pin is nice. It gives us a few options like that one that make it a lot better. So I'm okay with this Riichi here. Not the best, but it doesn't get better from here, really. So yeah, just waiting on 4-7-pin. Yeah, nothing really to say about that hand. Gonna speed it up here a little bit. We'll see how it goes. Unfortunately, player on our right is pushing into us now too. 2 players are pushing. Jeez. We get no respect at this table. All the 4 pins are getting used up. But it still makes it to Ryukyu. Crazy stuff. Oops, wrong button. There we go. Alright, so back to this here. How do we get value out of this hand? So let's start there. So I'm okay with that 8 mon. We're kind of angling more towards... God, what are we angling towards? Like, it could be Honitsu. I think Honitsu is going to be our best chance of value here. So I'm fine with the hard force, I think. Fine enough that I think I would have discarded the 7 pin over the 8 mon on the first discard, just because you're more likely to get fed stuff for Honitsu if you deal your suit that has more tiles first. So in this case, there was only 1 Manzu, quite a few Pinzu, so you deal the Pinzu first to not give away what suit your flush is in. I don't think it's a big difference in this situation, but I do think it was worth doing. Oh, that's a great draw. So right now we are Ishanten. Could draw north or 1 or 6. And we're gonna palm the 1. Ugh. With how many tiles are live here, it's hard to say for sure, but the 6 so can open up into a couple different options. The problem is if we open this hand, it's 2,000 points. It's like, yeah, there's a Riichi stick, yeah, there's 4 Honba, but we need more than that. You know, we're so far behind here. We need to push for that value, so I think I'd rather not open here. And, yeah. I'm gonna do this just once to kind of see what we would have drawn. We actually would have drawn the 2 cell. So that would be pretty good for this hand, I think. Now again, that's not the best way to evaluate anything. We do get a hit at least, so it's something. So 3,200 after Honba. But it still leaves us in a pretty bad position here, right? So that hand had the potential to be Mangan. So I think slowing down a little bit and going for that value might have been a better way to go here. Now this one, on the other hand, we're just going for speed, right? So this hand, yeah, it could be Hanuman, could be Baimon, potentially. But with 3 Dora, we're just going fast. You know, try to make the most of it as you can. And see what we can do with it. So here, we're probably discarding... I actually don't like that 6-so discard at all. I'd rather discard the 1-so, lock in this pair, and try to improve the shapes by holding the 6-so. Yeah. So with this 9-8, like I said, you want to go fast, but one of the ways to go fast is with Tanyao. So cheating things like 6-mon or 4-pin. But unfortunately, we're not drawing much that would help either way. No, that 7-pin does help. And here, even though I love the Dama Mangan Pinfu, if we draw Tenpai, we're reaching. Like on the spot, not even close. And I think I'm still fine with... Oh, jeez, but there's 2 dead. Ugh. Yeah, and we immediately get punished. Yeah. The 2 outer tile that looks absolutely abysmal against her reach, Dorasuji, I think that's too much. I think I'd rather wait on it, try to draw something better. Even holding Tenpai I think is fine there, but 2 outs is not enough, especially when it's a central tile like that.
G.
Yep. Just a couple tiles left here. Yeah, that 7-pin was just a real rough one. But we are where we are. Oh, jeez. What? I completely missed that. I was focused on other things. I didn't realize that Mahjong Soul would score that as a Nagashi Mangan. Is that a difference here? No. Okay. So let me explain. So for a lot of rule sets, Nagashi Mangan is only with closed hands. Like, even though it's all discards and everything, you still have to keep your hand closed. You can't make any calls like this one here. So I did not pay attention to this Nagashi at all. Again, you know, reaching back here, there's not much we can do anymore. But that's crazy. Alright then, so we are deep in the hole here. How bad is it? So we need to make back like 60,000 points or something. So we're kind of in a wrench on at all costs mode, but we still can't completely forsake value, because then you just need to keep winning way more hands to be able to do that. Now the good news is, if other players aren't in a winning position, then they also shouldn't be taking the win, because it's winner takes all, right? So that's an important aspect to remember. So it might be this sort of thing just keeps going to Rikoku over and over and over again. But at the same time, player on our right is going to have a lot of incentive to push and end the game here, since they are in the lead overall. That's a great draw. Okay. Yep, I'm fine with this hand so far. We do have that lingering Sanshoku chance as well. It would take a little bit of doing, but it is possible. Ooh, hold on. So that 4-cell, that integrates a pair. Discard the 3-so, have 2, 3, 4, 4, 4. And then instead we can cut a 3-pin or a 2-mon. So this actually takes a step away from Tenpai, I think. Yeah. Because that would have been Ishanten. Nishanten. Whereas now, I guess it's still Nishanten, but I feel like it's just worse. Yeah, no, I think taking the shape there, confirming that pair, is the way to go. What am I missing? There's something, hold on. No, I don't know. But also confirming that 2, 3, 4 also makes that Sanshogu more likely, because we do have that 2, 3, 4 confirmed, instead of potentially having to use the 3 or the 2 as a pair. Just something to watch out for. Now that's a good draw though. So luckily we didn't get completely punished for it. The 8s being gone would make the 9-7 a much harder shape to fill. So now we draw this pair with the 9s. And now we're in a better position than we would be otherwise. Here we're just pushing like we don't really have anything else to do. I don't think we are gonna chi anything like that. Unless like the red 5-so comes out. Then I'd chi and try to force the Sanshoku.
Riichi.
I mean, we're still just pushing here. There's nothing else to do. Okay, yeah, 7 pairs, Tenpai. I completely missed it for a moment, so good catch there. I do like the Dama. It makes it more likely that someone deals in, gives us just a little bit of advantage, and we can get that wrench on and keep going. So yeah, really like that, and it gives us the opportunity to switch to a better weight as well. Good choice there at the last minute. Okay. I can get behind this hand. Needs a little bit of help once again, but you know, what hand doesn't? The 4 is actually a great draw too, because that'll let us improve some shapes potentially. Here I'm looking at discarding possibly 9-mon, and I want to chi a 6-so if we get there. Okay.
Riichi.
Oh, come on. What is that? Yeah, correctly identifies that discard. This 4-pin isn't bad. But yeah, we're just pushing here. Ishanten. We're gonna take anything we get here. Now I do like that change up. This lets us pawn into Tenpai as well. Yep, it's a good call there. And here it's just kind of waiting. Like, the problem is people aren't going to discard, except for maybe the 8-mon, anything that we need.
No.
Ah, yep. Okay, so at the end there, not a ton to do, I don't think. But that's where we're at. So, who actually won this tournament then? Oh, that's unfortunate though, because that hand doesn't win overall. So this is yes and no. So there's a lot of schools of thought out there for what to do in this kind of position, right? Like, it's very difficult for the player on our left to win, being, what is it, 60,000 points down? But there is still the Yakuman chance, right? So if you're choosing to play here, you know, assuming that my information's correct, it's winner takes all, then this doesn't do anything, right? Like, this confirms your last place. This is like being down 5,000 to 15,000 in all lasts in a Mahjong Soul game, right? You don't take a 1,000-point win there. But with that said, this Riichi does give potentially Ura chances. So it's kind of a difficult position to be in for them. I feel for it. But at that point, you almost want to just feed our hand and try to encourage us to win the game and hit one of the other two players. So it's really high level. There's not a lot of players in the US that can really kind of think at that point. But that is something to keep an eye out for. You know, does it make sense for me to win this hand? What are my outs in order to win this game? And I think that, unfortunately, this reach here is just not it. So not necessarily something we can predict from our position here. Didn't really affect our play at all. We just kind of had to keep pushing there. But yeah, overall, like I said, look for those opportunities to be a little more greedy with your Yaku. You know, try to build those hands, try to really get that value going, and that'll really help your position in the long run, I think. At the same time, watch out for the greedy reaches as well. They will absolutely punish you every time. Not every time, but you know what I mean. But I think that's about all I got. So thanks for sending in the replay. Thanks for watching, everybody. If you have any replays you want to send in, feel free to join the Discord, and we'll get to them when we can. But I think that's all I got. Have a good one, everyone.